haven't tried the Locklicious all-natural hair care product line? Well, let's hear what the Lock community has to say about it.
I love how it sprays and how it feels, you guys. Like, it feels so good. And it smells amazing, you guys.
The Lock and Twist moisturizer was really good for me. The hydration mist was phenomenal.
This is bomb, baby. I was really impressed, kind of blown away, and I think that if you're struggling, definitely go check them out.
And check out the 5-star reviews on our website. So, what are you waiting for? Go to locklicious.com to start treating your crown like royalty.
If you want to have a better view on how the Bible looks at women in its proper context, then you should get these 2 books. Matriarchs of the Covenant, written by Abdil Ben Levi, popularly known as Zion Lex. This is a masterpiece.
All right. We live, and we in the building. We live, and we in the building. Come up the video and share it live. Be right back in a couple seconds. All right, today gonna be interesting, y'all. Today is gonna be interesting. So, if y'all been following this lecture series that I've been doing, I put up a lot of lectures. By the way, if you guys been enjoying all of the throwback videos that I threw up on my channel, put some fire emojis in the room real quick. If you guys been enjoying some of the older lectures that I put back up on my channel over the weekend, throw some fire emojis in the building. I was just trying that out, see how you guys would like and enjoy that. So again, please throw some fire emojis and put it up in the building. A guy by the name of Asar Imhotep, who you guys see me do a response video to, after 7 days, he finally responded to me. After 7 days, he finally responded to me. As you guys know, I responded to him in 24 hours. As you guys know, I responded to him in 24 hours. And in his presentation, he said, well, Zion made a lot of errors in responding to me. In fact, he brags that he responded in 24 hours. So that's why he made so many errors. Let me tell y'all something, man. People style me as a bully in the conscious community, as an intellectual bully. Some people even think I'm more than that of a bully. But I'm none of the above. But what I will not do is stand by as people come from my tradition, come from my culture, and come from my heritage. In Asar Imhotep's video response, he stated unequivocally that Zion is, he's part of the conscious community dudes. They just looking to make a name for themselves. They want to go viral, and they're always doing videos debating people. He also said that he's not new to this, I'm new to him. He also said he's not new to this, I'm new to him. There's a couple things y'all gonna hear me say in a couple of moments, and one of those things is simply to say Asar Imhotep might definitely be new to me, even though he thinks he knows me. But as the saying goes, you're gonna learn today. Oh, your ass gonna learn today. So, as far as mentioning me among the whole conscious community group, it's a debate tactic, right? And if you're a Zion Lex hater, obviously you would rush into that. So I didn't mind that. As a debate tactician, it's part of a debate tactic, right? It's a weak tactic nonetheless to put a person in or group and lump them in with a majority that's considered in a negative connotation. It's a debate tactic, a weak one, but nonetheless a debate tactic, nonetheless. And he said that, I'm just looking to make response videos. I think Asar Imhotep forgets that he went on Son of the TV and did a video entitled Yahweh is not of Egyptian, not Yahweh is of Egyptian origin. I think Asar Imhotep may have forgot that it was him that went on Sonata's channel and did a video entitled Yahweh is of Egyptian origin. So what did you think? No Israelites was going to step out and challenge you? Of course you were going to get a response, you big ass dummy. You challenged something that is fundamental and core to our culture and heritage. I'm sure you knew that it was going to warrant a response. So no, we're not capping. No, we're not chasing you. In fact, Asar Imhotep, you barely have 6,000 subscribers on YouTube. So how is calling your name relevant for any YouTuber? Somebody tell me. I don't need to call your name Asar Imhotep. In fact, this is the first video, or that video response was the first video I ever did with your name in the title, period. Never addressed you, period. Because who are you? Nothing to me. Nobody to me. I've always stated that I respect various elements scholarly that you bring to the table. I will still say that. I'm not going to retract those statements, right? But even scholars can give sloppy scholarship at times, and even scholars can behave unscholarly, which is why I had to chin check you. But let's just make something clear. Zion Lex don't have to call Asar Imhotep's name, right, to get or to go viral, because you and your 6,000 subscribers is nothing in comparison to the manifold subscribers that I have. So why the hell would I call your name? I've fried far more bigger fish than you. And make no mistake about it, you are a fish. So let me go. Shout out to Mika. Mika loved trouble. She was in there gassing him up. She's like, Asar on fire. Asar's on fire. Yeah, he's on fire. He was burning himself. I'm going to show you in a couple of moments. He's on fire. He was burning himself. But watch this, man. I don't want to talk too quick. We're going to go right into it, y'all. Now, Asar Imhotep mentioned several times in his video presentation yesterday that I am not a person that even warrants a response from him. He said this several times throughout the lecture, that I'm a nobody. I'm not a scholar. I'm nobody that's on his radar. And he shouldn't even be responding to me. In fact, he doesn't want to respond to me. But guys, he did a 2-part video response last night. Each video 3+ hours. Are y'all hearing me? He did a 2-part video response last night to me. Each video 3+ hours. But then he tells you, I'm not worth a response. But he does a 2-part video totaling 6 hours responding to someone he says has no scholarship and is not worth a response. Y'all ever seen me do a 6-hour video back to back, 3 hours each, on somebody that wasn't worth it scholarly? It ain't adding up, homeboy. We know how you rate me. Hence why you felt the need to do a 2-part video response, 3 hours each. That sound like whatever I said pissed you off and put you all the way in your feelings. And what I gotta say to you is, you gotta pull up your skirt. You gotta pull up your skirt. What do you think? You're above critique? Because you stand by the scientific method and you're rigorous with the data, so no one should shut your ass up. Nobody is above critique, period. Nobody. Your work is not so scholarly that it is above criticism. No one's work is above criticism, edification, or critique. The fact that you have a problem with me rebutting your information is the problem in the first place. Because you on your channel have rebutted several people in your own community, even the elders. You thought I forgot? Wasn't it you, Asar Imhotep, that called Dr. Mario Beatty childish because he disagreed with you on the origin of the term Kemet? That was behaving childish. You said his thesis and his logic was childish. His behavior was childish. Let me get this straight, Asar Imhotep. Dr. Mario Beatty was childish because he critiqued your work. You see, what a lot of people know already, and I want to just take a little bit of time to emphasize, is that what comes with scholarship naturally is ego. I'm going to say that again. What comes with scholarship naturally is ego and even pride. But if you have any righteousness to you, right, any humility to you, you'd humble yourself and realize that even you too can be critiqued for the edification of the community and of the people. No man is above critique. All right. So with that being said, y'all, we're about to have some fun in here. And I'm about to go right into the presentation. The first thing I want to let y'all know, anybody out there remember that movie Menace to Society? Anybody out there remember the movie Menace to Society? With a cop, I think the actor's name is Bill Duke or something like that. I might be mistaken, but the black cop, he had Kane in the room as Kane was being interviewed because he's an officer of the law. He's interviewing Kane, and Kane tripped up, and he looked at Kane and he said, "You know you done effed up, right?" Now, you know you done effed up, right? So in the words of that officer, I want to tell Asar Imhotep, oh, you done effed up big time. And one thing you're going to learn about me is I'm the wrong person to make mistakes with because I'm meticulous. I'm a comb through everything mentioned, everything said, and I'm a body bag you. Which is why it took you 7 days to even respond to me because you know my caliber. Which is why when you finally do respond, you do a 2-part video, each 3 hours each. Sounds like in your eyes, I'm a hell of a big deal. Even though I responded to you in less than 24 hours, just like I'm doing now, and I'm certainly not going to do a 2-part video, 3 hours each. Foot on neck season. Here we go. We're going to go into what I'm going to call right now Exhibit A. All right, we're going to go into what I call right now Exhibit A. Make sure you guys thumb up the video and share the live. Thumb up the video and share the live. This is definitely going to be one of those presentations where I may come out in rare form. This will definitely be one of those presentations where you may be seeing me once again in rare form. And y'all know when I say that, it's on. All right. So here we go. First slide. Asar Imhotep's presentation, like I told you guys, was a 2-part response video where each was 3 hours. The bulk of his information was obviously to rebut me rebuttaling him, right? The bulk of his information was to rebut me rebuttaling him. And one thing I gotta say is this is historical linguist NEB. Oh, all right. Shout out to NEB. Shout out to NEB. NEB, if you want the link to join, let me know. NEB, if you want the link to join the live, let me know. I'll let you in on the live. Shout out to you, NEB. NEB, for those of you who may not know, he is not a Hebrew. He is not in the Israelite or Hebrew tradition. He is in the Kemetic tradition, and his specialty is in linguistics. And even him, as a person who specializes in linguistics of various African languages, but namely with a focus on ancient Kemet or Egypt, even he said that Asar Imhotep is incorrect in trying to trace Yahweh back to a deity in Egypt. I want you guys to see what's on the big screen. I want you guys to see the comment on the big screen. Right now, Asar Imhotep is on the Summer Jam screen, and I want you guys to read someone from his own community, one of his own peers, NEB. NEB says, "This is historical linguist NEB, and you are correct." He's talking about me. Asar Imhotep is already a rejected pseudo-linguist. Did everybody say it? Hear that? Did everybody see that? He said Asar Imhotep is already a rejected pseudo-linguist in a peer review, and he is very wrong about Yahweh's, and I'm going to add, origin, right? And he even tells you all of the top Kemetic historians and linguists that agree that Asar Imhotep is pseudo on various points that he makes. And I'm going to let the Summer Jam screen roll. The first person he cites is Dr. Mario Beatty. Shout out to Dr. Mario Beatty. I believe he is one of the people who is leading, if not the person who is leading solely ASCAC currently. Shout out to Dr. Mario Beatty. Dr. Mario Beatty is certainly one of those people that rejects various statements that Asar Imhotep has made. He's even referred to some of Asar Imhotep's statements with regard to the history of Kemet and even the language of Kemet as being scholastically unfounded. You don't have to believe me, guys. I'm going to show you in a couple of moments that even NETER has interviewed Dr. Mario Beatty and has actually video recorded an entire lecture debate where Dr. Mario Beatty is debating against Asar Imhotep and proving that Asar Imhotep's knowledge of the language is weak with regard to how he makes and presents his points as to why he says what he believes about the origin of the name Kemet. So I'm going to agree first and foremost with NEB that he is absolutely right, that Dr. Mario Beatty rejects him. Then NEB says Dr. Raketi Aman rejected him. By the way, for those of you who do not know, Dr. Raketi Aman, she is one of the foremost Kemetic scholars when it comes to the language, guys. When it comes to the language. Dr. Raketi Aman, she's a woman, by the way. Shout out to her. Shout out to that queen. She is an amazing linguist in the community. I'm going to say the community at large, not any one community. Her specialty is in the NETER, and she has trained several of the great NETER teachers. Several of them. NEB also names Dr. Kambon, and he says that Asar Imhotep's work is also rejected by Dr. Kambon. Now, I do know that many of the elders in the Kemetic community have gone on camera, and like I said, NETER has the film. I'm going to show you guys in a couple of moments. They've gone on camera to say that they reject many of the conclusions that Asar Imhotep has drawn based on his faulty language, faulty understanding of the language. And I say faulty, not because he's a person that doesn't know NETER. See, I don't want to do and be as extreme as they can do. It's not that he doesn't know NETER, but sometimes you guys, and I want you guys to focus on me as I'm saying this, but sometimes you guys have to understand that when a scholar is so bent on presenting an argument that they believe is true, they will reject all common sense, all logic. They will abandon all wisdom, all methodology in order to validate the point that they wish to establish as truth. And that's the point I want to make you guys clear about, right? This is not an attack on Asar Imhotep, right, as a scholar in general, because I've gone on record more than once to say that he is a serious scholar. But at times, and this is clear as day with many scholars in general, a scholar may be so bent on establishing his opinion as fact that he may abandon all methodology, all logic, and all wisdom in order to prove those points. So again, NEB, if you'd like to come on the chat, just let me know. If you'd like to come on the live, just let me know. I will definitely let you come on in. All right, I will definitely let you come on in so you could share some of your thoughts. I know that you've debated Asar Imhotep several times. And one of the reasons why I think it's significant to have you on is because you're his peer, you're from his community, you have debated him, and you have not resulted to pay personal attacks, right? Your disagreement with him is about his information. You've never made it personal, right? If you're a person that was personally attacking him and his character, I wouldn't even offer you an opportunity to speak because that's just mute. That doesn't make any sense. But it's because of the fact that you've always carried yourself with class and tact when it comes to debating and trading your difference of opinion when it comes to the things that he teaches about the language, the history, and the culture. All right? All right. NEB says, I am not his peer. My bad. I hear you. I hear you. All right, so here we go. I'm going to take that comment off the Summer Jam screen for a moment, and I'm going to go now into my lecture. So here we go. I want to talk about something guys call primary, secondary, and tertiary sources. That's primary, secondary, and tertiary sources. Let me get something really quick. I'm going to go to my bookshelf, and just for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to pull out 2 meta-lecture dictionaries, all right? Just for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to pull out 2 meta-lecture dictionaries. All right, the first dictionary I'm going to pull out is entitled Middle Egyptian, An Introduction to the Language and Culture of Hieroglyphs by James P. Allen. All right, Middle Egyptian. All right, again, An Introduction to the Language and Culture of Hieroglyphs by James P. Allen, who is certainly considered one of the authorities when it comes to the language of ancient Kemet, right, as a resource, as source material. The second book that I'm going to quote for a moment or pull out is A Concise Dictionary of Middle Egyptian by Raymond Faulkner from the Griffith Institute. A Concise Dictionary of Middle Egyptian by Raymond Faulkner. And now that I've pulled out those 2 books, I wish to make a statement before you guys. And here's my statement. People who follow what's called the academic standard and style themselves either as teachers, scholars, linguists, grammarians, writers, authors, right? People along those fields, along those lines, some of them at times have a very sloppy method of presenting information in the sense that they will go to a book, quote the author, and then say that this establishes that what I'm saying is true. I found the book, I have the author's name, I even have the page number, and I have the citation of the author. So after a while, what that does now to the community is, while it is certainly academic to cite your sources, let's not get it twisted. While it's certainly academic to cite your sources, I want to point something out to you guys as a person who has come through the halls of academia, and I want to say this to you. Whatever citation that you present, scholarly, in academia, does not automatically make that validation authentic, genuine, or right. Just because I have a citation of what an author says that agrees with my point doesn't mean that the point that I'm making, nor what the author is saying that is in agreement with what I'm making, is still right. What you still have to do is vet what I'm saying and vet what the author that I'm citing is. So what happens in the conscious community is people come up among the ranks, they debate, they do presentations, and they believe because I'm good at making PowerPoints, I got a couple books, and as y'all know, most of them got PDFs. Y'all know they don't do books. You guys know I'm like virtually one of the only people in the conscious community that you will see talking live, and you can actually look at books. Look at them. Even look at him. Look at Asar Imhotep's live yesterday. Look what you see in the back. Nothing. Nothing. All right? Now, even people who want to assume the role of scholarship would at the least bit have a couple of books out, so that it kind of gives the listening audience some degree of feasibility that you might know what the hell you're saying. But that's because most of these people just do PDFs. They don't really read books, right? They don't really read books. Most of your favorite scholars on YouTube, that's what they are, YouTube scholars. Many of them really don't read books like that, all right? Many of them don't. And just so we're clear that, this is not no little bookshelf. All right? Look at me and look at the bookshelf. Clearly not a small bookshelf. All right? Clearly not a small bookshelf. Several books. All right? So the point that I want to make right now is about to be clear in a couple of moments. So what happens now in YouTube scholarship, people believe that because I cited my source, I showed you where in the book it came from, I provided a page number, and I showed you that they seemingly agree with the point that I'm making. Now that established that my point is factual and right. Wrong. Because there's still something called vetting sources. Just because you find a source on the internet that agrees with something you say does not mean that what you are saying is actual and factual. You can go on the internet, guys, and find a source for everything. You don't need a citation for saying the sky is blue. In fact, you don't need a citation for saying things that are generally understood. But let's say we're arguing and debating whether or not the sky is blue. And I go on the internet and I find a citation where a guy says, no, it's purple. Does that mean that my citation proves that because I found someone that agrees with me, that what we're both sharing is actual and factual? Are you guys understanding what I'm saying right now? Because if you're digesting what I'm saying, you're about to understand where we're about to go. You're about to understand where we're about to go. What happens now in the conscious community is, so long as I can find a citation that agrees with me, then I'm right. Wrong. Because the information that you're citing could be equally as wrong as you, could be equally as dumb as you. So finding a citation is not sufficient to demonstrate scholarship. Let's talk about sources for a moment. I'm going to really take my time with this, guys. Watch this. We're going to talk about sources for a moment. I want to deal with what's called primary sources. The definition for a primary source is raw data, original sources of information before it has been analyzed, characteristics, first-hand observations, contemporary accounts of events, viewpoints at the time, examples, interviews, speeches, diaries, birth certificates, journal articles, science, newspaper, articles written at that time. So going by the first example that we saw of primary sources, I just want to let you guys know something really quick. And let me pull out the Hebrew Bible, the Tanakh. When it comes to Israelite culture and Israelite history, the Hebrew Bible is what we call the primary source. I'm going to say it again. When it comes to Israelite culture, Israelite history, Israelite dogma, the Tanakh, the Hebrew Bible, is a primary source text. What does that mean? If we are debating, reasoning, and trying to ascertain what it is that the Hebrews taught and believed, this item is a chief resource, the Tanakh. It's a primary source material on what the Israelites believe and taught. Why? Because it is from the very lens of the Israelite themselves. They are telling their stories, which in the realm of a historian, that's crucial when it comes to internalizing and looking at and assessing the data. I want to know what the people said. So if Asar Imhotep is able to quote a source, right, that comes many years later to come say something different about what the original source says, that's something that you take into consideration, but you still have to understand, guys, that it is not the primary source. Now watch this. Let's talk about secondary sources. Definition: sources that analyze or interpret primary data. Okay, so let me make something clear to you guys. For those of you in the conscious community who tend to be slow, the Israelite community is a little faster than y'all. But for those of y'all in the conscious community that tend to be slow, let me break it down slow for you. If you look at the definition for what is called a secondary source is a source that analyzes or interprets primary data. Basically, what I'm saying is all of the source material that Asar Imhotep presented to prove why the Hebrew God Yahweh is not of Israelite origin all came from secondary sources. He did not examine in full depth and context the primary source material. In fact, whenever he even attempted to go to the primary source material, he went to the English translation. But the primary source material for the Hebrew Bible is the Hebrew text, something that Asar Imhotep does not read, is illiterate in, and at best has a remedial understanding of. So how does Asar Imhotep come to what he frames a linguistic view that Yahweh is not of not of Hebrew origin, but in fact of Egyptian origin, yet Asar Imhotep doesn't read Hebrew? This is why when Sonnet have been calling him all last week to tell him Zion Lex rebutted your presentation on my platform, and he'd love to debate you live right here on Sonnet TV, you never responded to his phone calls. Except to say, Zion Lex ran from me before. Nigga, when? Where? Huh? Who? Me? You? You? Come on. When? So Sonnet knew it was a joke. Sonnet called me. He said, man, I called him, brother. I said, yeah, what he said? He said you running from him. I said, Sonnet, you know that's BS. I said, you know me more than anybody in the community when it comes to presenting information on public platforms. I said, have you ever brought anybody to me that I ran from? He said, nah, come on, brother, you know. I said, nah, you got to say it out loud so the people can know. Never ran from nobody. Not only do I not run from people, I run to them. Not only do I not run from people, I run to them. So for him to say I was running from him is a joke. What it really is, guys, is what I've been telling y'all a lot about a lot of y'all favorite teachers in the community. You see, everybody looks good when they're shadow boxing, right? Shadow boxing, you sparring by yourself, you look good. Everybody looks good when they're shadow boxing and sparring by themselves. Anybody could look like a real boxer when there's no other person in the ring. Anybody could look like a great presenter when they're the only person presenting. But we only know how vast your skills are when we have someone opposite you who is able to trade blows with you, be it intellectual or whatever have you. So the fact that you declined the opportunity to debate me on something that you presented on a public platform, but then go back on your own platform to slander me, shows and proves that you are an intellectual coward. You are a person that throws stones and then hides your hands. You are what we call an intellectual coward. Because if you had any gall, if you had any coenas, right, you would actually, if you had what they call that now, the testicular fortitude, right, you would actually see me one-on-one on the topic. But instead you say, oh, he's not somebody that I need to be worried about. But then you turn around and do a 3-hour video response back to back 2 times over. All right. Now watch this. Now I want to show you guys really quick what is called or what is framed as a tertiary source. All right. So just to recap, a secondary source is any source that is said to analyze primary source data. They typically do not offer new evidence, right? Characteristics of secondary sources are interpretations of information written after the event, which offers a review or critique. The examples for where you may find them in biography, journal articles, textbooks, commentaries, editorials, literary criticisms. Now let's talk about what's called tertiary sources. The definition of tertiary sources is these are sources that compile data on a particular topic. Collections or lists of primary and secondary sources reference works. So basically, guys, tertiary work is looking at the source of a source of a source of a source of a source's commentary. Commentaries. You're far removed from analyzing and assessing primary data when you're in the realm of what's called a tertiary source. So what I'm trying to present to you guys first and foremost is when Asar Imhotep begins to present his argument for why he says Yahweh is in fact of Egyptian origin, he takes you to Egypt and he shows you a dictionary, which is interesting because if you notice, he didn't go to any literary text in ancient Kemet to show us the worship of Yahweh in Egypt, because if Yahweh is an Egyptian god, you should have been able to show us the worship of him. You should have been able to show us the cult where people were worshiping him, but you did not. And the question that intelligent people should ask is, if Yahweh was worshipped in Egypt, then why is Asar Imhotep's research in validating that idea limited to looking at dictionaries? Because all he did was hold up dictionaries and compare and contrast the linguistic and lexical value of meta-NETER terms and attempt to describe why that validates that Yahweh is of Egyptian origin, without taking you through any literary text in Egypt written by the people of Kemet themselves, so as to establish beyond all reasonable doubt that Yahweh was worshipped in ancient Egypt by the people of Kemet, so as to establish also a timeline pointing out not only was he worshipped in Egypt by the people of Kemet, but also providing a timeline to now come back and say, this is where the Hebrews got it from. But if you notice, he does not do that, because he cannot do that. I hope you guys are paying attention. In the first response that I did to him, I mentioned something to you. Magic and sleight of hand. Remember I said to you guys continually that a magic trick requires, at the base level, a certain level of your ignorance in order for it to work. We know magic tricks are generally fixed. There is no real magic. Not today. Our ancestors of old, that's the real science that they now call magic. But today there's no real magic. Everything that they're calling magic today is sleight of hand. And sleight of hand or magic necessitates that you must be ignorant to something that the person is saying or doing in order for the trick to work. You must not be in the know about something. I must be able to hide, disguise, mesh, whatever, camouflage, keep you ignorant of something in order for the trick to work. If Yahweh is of Egyptian origin, Asar, Pseudotep, then you should have taken us to the primary text in ancient Kemet to establish that point. Instead, your study was limited to looking at lexical meanings in a dictionary and saying, because this is the lexical meaning and it's in the NETER, Yahweh is of Egyptian origin, without verifying, assessing, and going through any primary text in Kemet to validate your point as true. Asar Imhotep said throughout his presentation that Zion Lex is new to him, but he's not new to this. You're going to find out, you're going to learn today that you are new to me, and I am certainly not new to this. With all due respect, Brother Asar Imhotep, you joined ISUPK. And because I have respect for my brothers, I won't say or give into any language that might incite disagreements among ourselves, but what I will say is you certainly was not part of the most scholastic group of Israelites. Let's make that clear. You certainly was not part of the more scholastic group of Israelites. So whenever you make this comparison that you was an ISUPK, so you know what the Hebrews teach, first of all, I just want to tell you something. That's not nothing to brag about. You were not part of the more scholastic groups of Israel, if I could say that bluntly. All right. You want to come on the chat? All right. All right, NEB. I'll let you in on the chat. I'm going to pause my presentation for a couple of moments to invite NEB on the chat. So here we go. NEB, the link is being posted right now, live in the chat. NEB, if you want to join the chat live, by all means do so. If you want to join the chat live, by all means do so. By all means, do so. I'll allow NEB, someone who's a peer from his community, to come live on the channel. In fact, I mean, after all, when they've disagreed with Zion Lex, they've brought all the people that hate Zion Lex on their platforms to say why Zion Lex is not vetted. And then Zion Lex come right back on and run through them all. I'll be waiting for you, NEB. You want to call in? All right. It'll be better if you could come in live. But you're saying you want to call. Come in live if you can, NEB. If you can come in live, come in live. No, I'm not saying you hate him, NEB. In fact, you can come on and explain your stance. Come on and explain your stance. I just put the link in the chat room, NEB. I'm going to put it in there once more. I'm giving you an opportunity to come on the live to share your perspective on why you disagree that Asar Imhotep presentation is not as scholastic as he says it is. All right? I want you to show the people why it is that you disagree with him, that on the idea that Yahweh is of Egyptian origin. All right. All right. Can you hear me loud and clear, brother?
Dua.
All right. Dua. Hotep.
Hi.
Hey, shout out to the brother NEB. This is our first time, corresponding with each other directly. We know of each other. We've had brief chats online, nothing personal. At times, we have disagreed with what one another says, and that's okay. That's always going to happen. I want to give you the opportunity, NEB, first and foremost, to tell the people your pedigree. Because if you're going to come on to disagree with someone like Asar Imhotep, who people think is a great scholar, I think it's necessary that you tell the people where you come from scholastically, and then you can go into describing why it is that you disagree with his stances.
Sure. Uh, I'm a longtime student of Dr. Ricketti Amin in Medunetcha, transliterations and translations, Coptic, and basic fundamentals to historical linguistics. I work alongside Professor Dr. Nazir Sati of the University of Cortium. He's a Nubian professor and also an assistant linguistic professor of Nubianology at the University of Cortium. So I work with him directly. Right now, I have research that's submitted to the Ghana Journal of Linguistics, being vetted right now with me. Is me and my linguistics associate, Dr. Nazir Sati. Uh, we have a linguistic research project in the field of historical linguistics together, where it's being vetted by four top scholars, four top historical linguists who are vetting our work. This is the proper procedures in the field of historical linguistics before you make apodictic statements. You will have to go through a peer review system. So this is what me and my linguistic partner are doing. I work with historical linguists directly. I was recently made a introduction course instructor at the highly credible Akili in Ghana, which is a Bibutu Bikasi Institute of Language. And I became Dr. Obadeli Cambone, an award-winning historical linguist, has recently made me a course instructor, historical linguistic instructor there. Uh, and that's about it.
All right, all right. Thank you very much for mentioning that. The first thing that I want to say to you is this: I want to draw a clear line between motives, right? Because I don't believe that you would invite me to come on your platform to talk personally about anybody, and I definitely would invite you to do so. So I just want to make something clear. Do you have any personal issues with Asar Imhotep apart from scholarship?
No, he just had bad scholarship. He was rejected uh, academically, so that's why I make people know. I remember I got mad at you. I know you can remember.
Mm-hmm.
I was very upset with you because I like you. I like your research. And everyone knows him, and you know I am very unbiased. Uh, when it comes to scholarship, we have to maintain a degree of unbiasedness. uh, so I don't look at it as a person, a Hebrew Israelite, a 5%er. However, I look at the work being presented in the methodology that we have to conduct to have unbiased research. So I always look at you and favorite you as a actual scholar. I love your work, and then when you started studying in Medunetcha, it's the same. And you know, I will get pissed. Once I get pissed, it's because something wasn't right. See, I got pissed at you because to say Asar Imhotep work is right on Kemet after he was rejected, that's why I was angry at you, because you didn't know that he was rejected at that time. But I knew he was scholastically and academically rejected. We can even go to Wikipedia to show people that his work that he's teaching on these platforms has been peer reviewed already and already rejected. The work on Kemet and the Negro Egyptian that he speaks about have been rejected since 2016, and he
Mm.
still are on these I have a recording of the editor in chief. I'm not going to say no names. I'm going to send it to you via email. You cannot share it. You don't have permission to share. But I just want to tell you that his work was already scholastically, academically rejected. And then he jumped on these platforms where you have a lot of black people on, and then he still teaches rejected information. That is a problem. That's like someone who is in the medical field. Medicine was rejected, and they still are selling the rejected medicine to people. So that is a problem where I am working with real scientists. I am a real historical linguist where I have to submit my work through a vigorous peer review system, which I am doing now. I have record, I have proof, data, one can backtrack. I have receipts to prove that my work is in a real scientific field in a scientific journal, we have to do it the right way. But when he get rejected, he simply say, "Oh, I'm rejected. Forget them," and then he make videos and go on platforms discussing the rejected information, like the Bantu and Sumerian rejected. Sumerian is a goddamn isolate. It's not related to no goddamn language. Okay, it's an isolate. Everyone knows this in peer review science. Everyone knows this is historical linguistics. No one has proved Sumerian belongs to black folk. Sumerian is academically and scientifically considered a language isolate. In linguistics, any historical introduction to a historical linguistics, a language isolate means that it is an isolated case where it is not related to no language, but yet this guy goes on these channels and say Bantu and Sumerian is related and show these pseudo-linguistic comparative analysis in which Wikipedia already deemed in a peer review. They went and got a linguist for public information, public record. It's on public record, the peer review, because it's a public peer review for Wikipedia. They got a real scientist, a historical linguist, and they said that he is a hoax, pseudo-linguistics. This is a peer review. See? So yes, I am angry. I am pissed at it, for I have to work in the real field with real professors, and we do it the hard way, where yet he can simply get rejected, go through these systems, get rejected, and I'm gonna prove it. We're gonna look at a peer review. You know, I come ready, I come correct always, right? And we're gonna look at the peer review, and I'm gonna make you read it for your own platform. See? So reason why I was mad at you is because I told you that he was rejected by Mario Beatty, he was rejected by Dr. Ricchetti, he was rejected by Obadeli Campbell, an award-winning historical linguist. And no, we are not his peers. I am not a peer with him. I am a historical linguist. He is a pseudo-linguist. We are different. I am not his peer. He does not submit. He does not submit his work to any peer-reviewed system. He does not submit his work, and if he did, it got rejected.
Let me ask you this question. So you mentioned even in the live chat before you jumped on the live that his work, and I'm going to say in various areas, because I don't know if they reject all of his work, but I'm going to say that in various areas of things that he's presented publicly, it's been rejected by some of the great teachers such as Dr. Mario Beatty. Could you go into their accolades? Tell us, assuming the audience does not know who Dr. Mario Beatty is, you telling us that Dr. Mario Beatty disagrees with him might not mean anything unless people know what type of intellectual stature these individuals stand on. So if you can, tell us who Dr. Mario Beatty is and his work, and tell us who Dr. Ricchetti Amen is and tell us her work, and then cause us to understand the seriousness of how he is pushed aside by the greats.
Dr. Mario Beatty is also not his peer. I got to get it. Let's get that correct. Dr. Mario Beatty is a real professor, people. He did a real dissertation to get his degree. He had degrees in African studies. He is also an author of numerous papers on one of the top journals of Black Egyptological journals, which is the Uncle Line, who editor-in-chief is Dr. Theophile Benga to date. He is a direct student of Dr. Theophile Benga, Dr. Mario Beatty, and he runs ASCAP. So when you talk about Dr. Mario Beatty, we're talking about some of our foremost sublime scholars.
Stop there for one moment, because I have to say this because a lot of people are not aware of this. In many of Asar Imhotep's lectures, when he speaks of ASCAC, he'll say, we of ASCAC, those of us at ASCAC. But you just pointed out that the director, the person who runs ASCAC, does not regard his scholarship in the area of linguistics and language because of the seriousness of the types of mistakes that he makes. Is that an accurate statement?
Yes, I can show. I have proof of Dr. Mario Beatty's statement engaging with me. You know, I'm very well respected in the historical linguistic channel and circles around the world. Actually, my research partner, that's how we worked together. He was at the University of Khartoum and heard about me, and that's how we became on this new project we're doing for a journal today. So I'm respected around in regards to my abilities in historical linguistics and my abilities in understanding meta grammar, transliterations, and translations, and also Coptic as well. Now, um, as far as that, him saying we at ASCAT, he had nothing to do with ASCAT. That is such a disgrace. And these are the type of statements that has to be dealt with because I look at him as selling bad medicine. When your medicine from the FDA is not approved, when you have bad data, your peer review is coming back bad, that means that you have to either get your work together so you can pass the peer review system, or don't mention it until you pass. That has been what he does. He make these crazy statements like we of ASCAT. He have nothing to do with ASCAT, period. Dr. Mario Beatty is the head honcho of ASCAT.
Okay. Now, if we can now, let's get to the main idea. Asar Imhotep went on Sonata's platform to establish that he believes that Yahweh as a name has its origin in ancient Kemet, and he went into various linguistic demonstrations to prove that those points. Did you find anything problematic about his premise, and did you find anything problematic about his methodology?
Actually, on my channel is called Peer Review, Kadika, the Peer Review Science Channel, where I share nothing but peer review.
Stop that. Moderators, please, all the moderators, put his YouTube channel in the chat room. Please, everybody, subscribe to his YouTube channel. Tell us your channel once more.
I really don't need all that, brother. I'm
no, because I'm saying that because I want them to see what it is that you recently presented.
Okay. Can I put it? Can
you can write it yourself in the chat room. Yeah. Or you could give it to me. What? Just, you know what? Say what it's called, and I'll type that in the chat room. What is it called?
It's called peer reviewed. Yahweh is not African in origin according to Kemetiu Egyptian inscription.
Okay, excellent. All right, so I'm going to restate the question that I just asked you. The question I asked
I can share it. I can share it here.
Okay, excellent. Let me see.
Do you see here? Do you see here?
I see it now. I'm seeing it now.
Okay, that's good.
All right, excellent. So go into why it is that you have a problem with his premise and his methodology. What is the problem? And this is again from an African scholar that specializes in Medu Neter. I'm talking about you. Yeah. Why is it that you disagree with his premise? Why is it that you disagree with his methodology? What was wrong about his premise and his methodology?
Number one is not peer reviewed. Number one, he didn't submit his work to any peer review. Nothing. It's just hop on YouTube, make apodictic statements. So number one is not scientifically peer reviewed in any linguistic or Egyptological journal archive, as you see the paper I'm sharing on my video, which is a peer reviewed science channel. So I only share nothing but the top Egyptological, Hebrew, Semitic scholars, et cetera, on my channel, and they have to go through a peer review for me to share it. His work have not gone through no peer review. It never does. And then when it does, it gets rejected. He still keeps it. He's like a plague, a scholarly virus or plague. Now, what I mean by that is that, as you see here, the paper I'm showing is called Yahweh and the Origins of Yahwehism, a critical evaluation. In this text, they agree with you and they agree with me. You know how to read Medu Neter now. So when you see that term that's in Medu Neter, is the term Yahweh is only in two Egyptological texts. And that dates to Imhotep, either the second or third. This paper sources that. So I have the actual inscription where we both can read it ourselves.
So if I can stop you, for a moment, just to make something clear to people, while Asar Imhotep went to a dictionary where he's able to recreate the lexical form of Yahweh without citing the text in Kemet that it came from, NEB is going to the text to establish why the point is wrong, and Asar Imhotep is going to dictionaries and saying, look, you see, lexically it's the same, so it's the same. NEB, is that scholarship?
No, it's not. That is that's the part of what I mean by lookership. Sorry. That's the part of what I mean is by he's a pseudo linguist. He takes things that looks alike, and then he says they are cognate, and he just take things from everywhere and smash it into one without getting a peer review of his data, and that's very dangerous. So here you if you go on the peer review channel, it says Associates for Biblical Research, and then you got shallow excavations, and then you see a paper called The Name Yahweh in Egyptian Hieroglyph Text. In this paper by Dr. Benton, PhD, who has a PhD, he showed the Egyptian text where Yahweh was written. In the two Egyptian texts, is only two, maybe one more, but it's two. He shows the two when he shows the two in these specific texts. The name Yahweh is actually connected to foreigners, as you stated when you read the glyph with the Kas symbol, the mountain symbol.
So stop right there. Now, just for a moment. I do apologize for stopping you, and I'll explain to everyone why I feel the need to stop you. There's a lot of people in my community that are not able to always follow because what you're saying is just so advanced that you're going into NETER. That's why I'm slowing it down so that you can do something that is monumental in this moment. Now, when Asar Imhotep pulled up, and I'm gonna switch gears for a moment. I'm gonna add my screen. Your screen is still there, so don't take away your screen. All right. When Asar Imhotep pulled up this image below, right? He looked at the glyphs and he tried to compare and contrast as to why this is Yahweh. I looked at it and I said, if you look at this, you see the single reed leaf, which is an I or sometimes a Y and even an E. You look at the twisted flax, that's an H. You look at the quail chick, that's commonly a vowel U, but can also be a W. Hence why you can see how it could be YHW. All right. But when you look at the determinatives or the language classifiers, first you see the divine standard. I want you to verify if you can. Am I right when I say that when you see the divine standard as determinative, you're certainly talking about around early dynastic or pre-dynastic Egypt, because this is among the earliest determinatives for a king or NETER. Is that right?
That's inaccurate. Here, right here, this word is not Yahweh. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's not Yahweh.
Okay.
All right? Period. So we don't need to discuss here.
Okay.
When you see the reed leaf in the front is a I, it is not a Y. The double reed leaf is normally is the Y.
Fact.
Here is indicating some type of place, and YAHWEH or Yahweh is not a place name. Is technically a deity, an energy that those particular people harnessed and developed on their own innovation. But here, this is not the Egyptian text that we are using in scholarship.
Right. I totally agree. Like even in the classes that I give, I point out to people that it's the double reed leaf that gives you the Y sound. Although you do see, and this mainly happens in Egyptology, and it kind of lets you know who's doing Egyptology versus who's doing NETER. In Egyptology, they try to make the single reed leaf also a Y. But I know that it's an E or an A. I know that the twisted flax is an H. I know that the quail chick is a vowel U or sometimes a W. But what I'm asking you,
there's no vowels in NETER.
All right. So when the quail chick at the end is given the phonetics or the vocalization ooh, you're saying
It's
that's
not giving no
Egyptology.
phonetics. It's not giving no
So it's
phonetics.
just W.
Yeah, but it's not giving no
All right,
phonetics.
excellent. Excellent. Now watch this point that I want you to, this is the real point that I'm asking you to weigh in on. I want you to talk to us about the determinatives here, the divine standard. How archaic or ancient is it? Can you give us the earliest times that you can find the divine standard as a determinative in ancient Kemet?
You can look at archaic. You can look all the way in the archaic phases of Naquata. You can look into the Naquata. Naquata A, Naquata B is very old. Is you can even look into archaic phases of Kemetiu.
So then I was right when I said that some of its earliest uses are in fact pre-dynastic. I was right, correct?
Earlier uses of NETER.
No, of the determinative, the divine standard.
Yes,
All right.
it can go all the way to that phase, but this term here is not Yahweh, so we don't need to
No.
be discussing here.
I'm not even talking about that right now, NEB. I'm just talking about
Oh,
the
cool.
determinative. So now the kasut glyph above it, I want you to talk to us about that glyph because when I did my presentation to rebuttal Asar, I said that what Asar never mentioned to the people, but everyone who does Meta Neter knows, is that that kasut glyph is determinative for foreigner. What is your take on that?
Oh, not foreigner, but it can be someone who is not within the state, the Kemetiu unified state. It could be that we can also see that symbol used for even Kemetiu land and stuff like that. So it can vary. It's interchangeable. It can vary. The text, which I have, read thousands of texts, and that symbol of Kas can be iffy. It can be used for outsiders, or it can be used either for insiders as well. It depends on the context.
If I could interject for a moment and say something, I'll say this. What I've come to learn, and I know that you're going to chime in to correct, and that's, I'm all for that, right? You've been
I
studying.
think hold up, brother. I think we should leave that alone because that's not Yahweh. So why are we discussing something?
I'm going to close on this particular point, but I want to close with this idea. Just let me get it out. When you look at this determinative, the mountain range, which is called Kasu, right? Ancient Kemet or Egypt is a flat plain. The reason why this is used to represent quote unquote foreigners is because to the far north of Kemet are mountains. To the far south
it's
of
mountains.
Kemet,
It's mountains in the south too. It's mountains in the south too. You're not speaking correctly.
Hold on. I wasn't finished. Because if you listen to what I said, I just said that. There's mountain.
Right.
Let me finish so you can hear what I'm saying. And then if there's something that I said incorrectly, I'm all for you jumping in. So just hear me out. Ancient Kemet, Egypt, is a flat plain. One of the determinatives for foreigner is the Kasut glyph, which is the mountain range that we're looking at. To the far north of Kemet are mountains. To the far south of Kemet are mountains. So to the mind of the Kemetiu, foreigners are people who exist outside of those boundaries. So they use this particular glyph in part to represent that which is foreign.
I'm trying to tell you that you're inaccurate, and I want to skip this part because I don't want to get into this part because you're simply inaccurate.
So tell us why.
Let me tell you again. Again, that symbol can be used. Okay, we can go and look at the sapats. When you look at the sapat, do you know what the sapats mean in Medu Neter?
No.
Oh, all right. Do you know that Kemet? What makes Kemet Kemet? Can you explain for your people?
I want you to be very specific. What do you mean? What makes
Kemet Kemet? What makes Kemet a nation? What do Kemet consist of being a nation?
I don't understand the nature of the question. What does
okay? Let me say Kemet is a nation because it consists of 42 sapats. All right. The first sapat is Taseti. Taseti frequently have mountain glyphs. That is also a part of Kemet. See, so not all the time do they always use that cost symbol for determinative for those outside. They also use it for those who are inside as well because the whole region is not flat. the region go up and down as any regular region in society
Okay.
or in real life. Okay, so we can't just say that's whole flat. That's not
Okay.
how life is. That's not how life works. If you go into the second Sapat, the second Sapat is a major mountainous region, and that is the second Sapat beyond Saseti. So when
Okay.
it comes to understanding Kemet, you have upper region and you have lower region. In those mountain glyphs, I can show it now if you want. We can look at each Sapat, and in some cases, they will have the mountain for parts of even in their own national states. So what I'm saying to you is that you are correct, being that Yahweh, okay, depicted, that's not Yahweh, but Yahweh depicted by the two Egyptian texts I am about to show, according to peer-reviewed data, is that they are in fact a foreign deity. We wrote it in text that it was foreign. We said it came from the Shasu.
All right, let's see. Let's take a look at that. Let's take, and you know what, NEB, again, I'm one of those people that I'm always able to learn because I'm very open-minded. So thank you very much for pointing out those things, because I want to admit that I had never heard that before. So thank you.
You're welcome, brother. It doesn't matter, but I don't want us on here because that's not Yahweh. Whoever's saying that's Yahweh is lying.
All right, all right. So now I want you to now go into the source material where you said that the people of Kemet describe this deity as foreign.
All right. We're going to go to a peer review paper.
Share your screen again, by the way, so I can add it.
All right. You see here, the Solap hieroglyph. This is only one. See? Do y'all see that clear or no?
Everybody, do you see it clear? Should I make the screen like this? I'll make the screen like this. Go ahead, NETER, work.
And you can, I would like to see your translation skill.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do that. All right. It's very small for me, but let me just blow up my screen. All right, here we go. From the far right, you have the glyph for land, which is top. Well, you have the English under it, NETER, so that's not helping it if you really want to see my skill, but I'll do it anyway.
No. I mean, even here, even reading transliteration, my brother, that you do with your skill. That's still part of our me and your skill.
Excellent. So when you look at this right here, guys, where my arrow is, I'm not sure if you guys can even see my arrow because it's not on his presentation. But at the top far right, where it says T3 or TA at the bottom, that is the glyph for land. That's Ta, right? The marshes here is SH, right? That gives you the sound SH. Then you have what's called to the left of that the Su plant, right? So far you have Ta, Sha, Su. And then you have the quail chick, which shout out to NETER, he said that's a W. So this is Ta, Sha, Su. Then you have the double reed leaf below it. The double reed leaf would be a Y. You have the shelter, which is an H, right? The house, the shelter, that's an H. You have the lasso or the rope, that's the W. Some people say, oh, but NETER said there's no vowels, so I'm going to stick to W. And also you have the quail chick, which is W. Go ahead, NETER.
Oh, excellent reading. And you're correct. And you see what this says. This is the Solab hieroglyph where it mentions, this is one of the rare cases. They only mention Yahweh or Yahuwah, if I'm saying it correctly. Maybe you can offer correction if I'm having it wrong. But Yahuwah or Yahweh, if I'm saying it correctly.
Yes. It definitely looks more like Yahuwah or Yahuwah. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So in this peer review paper, which I'm going to give to you directly, this is a actual peer review. It went through a scientific system. A professor did it, and it shows two Egyptian inscriptions. One with Imhotep, I think the second or third by memory. I'm gonna just give you the paper so you can check it out. And they give inscriptions, direct primaries of the name. In the name you see underneath is a double reed leaf, not the single. And this says Yahweh.
Yes.
scholars are saying is Yahweh, not the one with the one. Now, here in this particular, which is the Soleb hieroglyph, Shasu are foreigners. So this would say Ta Shashu Yahuwah, or the land of the Shashu of Yahweh. That's how they are translating this. And they are saying that the Medu Neter inscription, where we find the oldest representation of Yahweh in the two Egyptian texts, and it represents a foreign entity, because the Shasu are foreigners, as you should know in Medu Neter inscription.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. So someone asked who peer reviewed it.
What you mean? Who peer reviewing the people who the system in journal it comes from? The journal it come from. Hold on, let me go to the journal. I gotta. That's why I told people to go to it so you can know the journal yourself.
Okay, excellent. By the way, guys, thumb up the video and share the live. Thumb up the video and share the live. Right, we're having a discussion right now about vetting sources and coming to a determination as to how someone's scholarship as presented is accurate. Go ahead, NETER.
Sorry. So this is by Jonathan D. Bless. Someone asked who peer reviewed it. Peer review, this is how peer review systems work. You normally have in a open access a blind review. So no one knows who peer reviewed it. Only thing you know is that the people who peer review it are scholars, are experts in the field. This is part of how we do it, and how all academia is. Or you will have a traditional journal system. This was more of a traditional system. This was harder. Now, this is submitted to the faculty of, this paper was submitted of the Archaeological Studies Program, Department of Sociology and Archaeology, in partial fulfillment of the requirements of the degree of a Bachelor's of Arts. So this is actually a dissertation, so you know it was peer reviewed from the professor who allowed it and accepted the work. All right, so on this peer review, I give 2 peer review papers. The first peer review paper I give from another Pacific Scientific department. And then I give the Archaeological Studies Program. And that's all you got to do is go to this peer review paper, and you can see it yourself for who peer reviewed, or you can ask the person through email or anything like that about their dissertation, and they can most definitely give you the answer.
All right, excellent. Now I have a question for you. If Asar Imhotep in his mind, and I say in his mind because I don't know anyone else that forms this argument, but if in his mind Yahweh is an Egyptian god, would you agree that he should also be able to show in the text in Kemet where people in Kemet were worshiping Yahweh, or where people were paying some kind of reverence to Yahweh? If he's going to say that Yahweh is of Egyptian origin, would you agree that we should be able to find a Yahweh cult in Kemet? What's your thoughts on that?
Brother, I just explained it. There is no, I agree with everything you're saying, but, I try to minimize redundancy, because for the audience is that so Hotep, I know it sounds strange, my brother, but okay, you have to kind of ignore this guy. It's hard. I know it's hard. I know you think it like that, but it's hard to ignore something like that. But you have to, because no Egyptian text mentions. I already showed one Egyptian text. If you go to that paper, now here's in the same paper, you got Yahweh in Egyptian text right here. See, they give sources. You see, interestingly, the oldest extra biblical account of Yahweh, the God of the Israelites, is found in Egyptian text. The reference to Yahweh dates to the 18th dynasty and was discovered at Soleb, a temple built by Imhotep III, 1400 BC, and dedicated to Amun-Ra. The temple is located in the Sudan, and I can go on. See that? So it says the land of the Shashu of Yahweh. X means Yahweh. These texts are dedicated to recounting Amenhotep's third domination of foreign peoples. One of these texts reads Ta Shashu Yahweh, or the land of the Shashu of Yahweh. That is the translation which you have read, what I have read with learning Method Netter. They are mentioning Shasu. The Shasu are in fact foreigners. Is no text showing Kemetiu worshiping Yahweh. It's no text of a Netter of us giving credence to a Netter called Yahweh. We have never worshiped Yahweh. We always looked at Yahweh as a foreign, and it was connected to the Shasu people. The Shasu people are from the Middle East.
All right. Thank you very much, NEB. Where could we find more of your work in terms of wanting to learn Meta? People who are looking to hear more about it online, what are some of the sources that you might provide for people who want to hear more?
Right now, I just became a historical linguistic instructor. So I will be having classes for $1,000 to teach people how to do historical linguistics and how to compare uh, African languages with Medu Neter and how to do the correct methodology and also how to write academically. A lot of our people suffers from not knowing how to write. So this is where I wanted to engage the community by teaching people how to actually write for journals so we can get more innovative research. So that's coming up. I have new work that's vetted right now in the Ghana Journal of Linguistics. So I have to wait. You know how it is, brother, when you submitting innovative work, it takes a long time to get past the peer review because there's a lot of things that you have a person have to do to be scholastic in academia in the field, and it takes some time. Now, as far as others, I would say I like you yourself. I think you are an unbiased scholar. I would tell people to even go to you on some cases. And I'm not just saying that because I always loved you. I just get mad at you when you big up Asar Imhotep. Even with the slightest big up, I get pissed at you because you're way better. And I like that you're unbiased. That's the most thing that attract me. Dr. Riketti, I'm in school, number one. If you want someone's school to go to learn Meta Netter grammar, please go to Dr. Riketti. I'm in school. That's kind of the best. I was taught by her directly, Coptic, and she has a master's degree from the University of Chicago in historical linguistics and also Egyptological knowledge that's far beyond. Benachi Montgomery is an excellent source to learn Medu Neter. Siba Ifadishi, and as well as Dr. Obadeli Kambon in learning Medu Neter and things of that nature.
All right. Thank you very much, NEB, for jumping on the live. I appreciate you, and I definitely look forward to having more dialogues with you, hopefully on matters that are not even at odds, but just to build with information from a very unbiased point of view, sharing knowledge and building. Thank you very much, NEB.
You're welcome. Can I ask you a question? So the Shasu, what did you hear about the Shasu?
You said, what did I hear about the Shasu?
The Shasu.
Okay, hold on one moment. Let me show you something. I want everybody to look at my screen.
And can we look at Asar Imhotep peer review or no? Maybe.
Yeah. Pull it up. While I'm pulling out this book, do that.
Okay.
All right. While you're pulling up that peer review, I'm holding up two books, right? I have a book entitled The Habiru, which goes into the origin of the people known as the Habiru. I also have a book produced by Oxford University, which is called Asiatics in Middle Kingdom Egypt.
Mm.
All right. In this book, Asiatics in Middle Kingdom Egypt, they talk about the term shasu linguistically, and they connect it with most of the Eastern Bedouin tribes that made their way into Kemet. So that I got the bulk of that information from this book, and this book goes into a lot of the lexical value of those terms, even terms like hekasut, right? The Hyksos. So this is an amazing book. This book deals on Asiatics specifically in the Middle Kingdom era of Egypt. So, at NETER, as you know, and I respect you for being honest enough to say it, I can handle critique because I don't think I know it all, so I can handle it. So if I'm going to talk about wanting to know more about an Asiatic presence in Kemet, this is certainly going to be one of those good books to look at.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I would look at that journal that you have where we can see a peer review for Asar Imhotep.
Your analysis of that glyph, it seems accurate as well. That's why I say, even though I don't think that says Yahweh, but say if it does, and I'm wrong about that,
Okay.
we do see the mountain glyph, and normally the case in the Middle Kingdom, we do find the mountain glyphs. It could be used interchangeably, but I haven't totally disagreed because you still translated to foreign deity was accurate um, by doing that. It's just that when we study, meaning both of us, me and you, we have a bond together because we both studied NETER.
Okay.
That's our bond. So the bond that binds us, um, we have to know clearly that what primary is this fool using? All right. He didn't show the primaries as you stated.
That's right.
And being that you're not showing primaries, man, that's a big problem. Like you stated, I agree with everything you're saying. But kind of don't get involved with those glyphs. Those glyphs are interchangeable. Once you start learning that, you're gonna see what I'm saying is that mountain glyphs are used all type of ways. But I agree with you. I have to agree that what you're saying is accurate. Um, and stop bigging up pseudo linguists as if they are doing the work as that book you showed me. That book you showed me is from Oxford. I'm not saying that their books are better,
Right.
but their books are properly vetted better, meaning that it goes through a vetting process in Oxford better than how we do it.
Right.
How we do it is we say Yahweh came from, because we see a Yahweh in Egyptian text. Now we say it's Egyptian in origin. They don't do that. So that's why I get upset, because the level of methodology that one uses and then make a apodictic statement on a program to readers that don't even know the topic to even critic you. So that's called academic dishonesty, and those type of people are very, very dangerous to blacks. Uh, Whether you're a Hebrew, you know me, I don't care what you are. You can believe in what you want to. I have a lot of Hebrew brothers and sisters who love me because I'm unbiased. Once brothers start mixing up deities and saying Yahweh is cognate with Naime from Akan, when Hebrew language is not related to the Akan. See, so this is problems right there.
All right.
And I'm going to show a peer review. This is Wikipedia peer review. We all heard Asar Imhotep say Sumerian, use Sumerian language and try to compare and all of this stuff. We all seen that. But this Wikipedia said that peer review, he tried to submit it in Wikipedia under another name. So the people caught his ass doing sock puppetry.
Uh-oh.
See that? Caught him. He was doing sock puppetry, submitted his work. The peer review, which is public access, they rejected it and thought it was a hoax. Then they said his name is synonymous with pseudo-linguistics. Then they got a black African historical linguist named Kwame who checked the work and rejected it. So it won't be no, oh, they white. They would, no way. Dr. Obadeli Cambone, an African award-winning historical linguist, rejected him in 2016. Dr. Mario Beatty, an African scholar and NETER student and student of Dr. Obenga, head of ASCAT, rejected him. Dr. Ricchetti rejected him. Dr. Nazir Sati, a Nubian linguistic professor, rejected him. And he still does this. See? So let's see. Let's show. Let's read together.
All right, share your screen. I want to show it.
Here we go. See this? This the topic. I'm gonna share the link for everyone. Y'all need to read the in whole. And y'all need to understand who this guy is. This guy is not this guy. I'm not here to bash, talk about no one bad and all of that. I just tell the facts. His work was vetted and was rejected. That's true. All right. Now, if we go down here, his work is considered non-scientific content. All right. It says this is a recently accepted AFC article. Most AFC reviewers do not know much about linguistics, so this went through as seemingly genuine content. You see how he does. I told you he brings his stuff to audiences that don't know linguistics. And once he do that, no one can critique him. But they caught his ass. Now watch, let's read. We're going to read loud and clear. This is obviously original. It says, this is obviously original research by someone going by the pseudonym Asar Imhotep. The article was written by Daniel Power of God, which is really Asar Imhotep. That was sock puppetry he's doing. Who has had a history of writing up conspiracy theory content and inserting links related to such theories. Whoever made this up was obviously into Black Egyptian conspiracy theories, which are totally unscientific. The Asar Imhotep Online Institute is not even a real institute, but rather indicates that the material is actually self-published nonsense. Do I gotta keep on, or you got?
God damn, man. God damn. Could you
it
put?
Hurts, right?
Could you, if it's possible, could you put a link to this in the chat room so people can have access to it, so that they can look at it?
All right. Oh yeah. Sure. I would love to. Yes, he was already rejected before by Dr. Cambone, and Wikipedia was the last. Then Dr. Mario Beatty rejected him, which you already spoke on quite eloquently at best. You spoke on it so very well. I'm so proud. Only thing I'm upset with you is saying that he is great in any possible manner is a lie. He have done nothing for the community but lie and give pseudo-linguistics after he's rejected, and he comes on and still continues to give us this crap, and somebody have to step up. And I tried, even when we debated on the BB everyone know he lost. All of the professors said they agreed with me, and no one mentioned it. They threw me somewhere else, and that was it. Did me very wrong. Even though all of the judges said I won on a panel.
I remember that. I remember Brother Reggie co-signing that you won. I remember.
Yes.
Yes, I remember. I definitely remember. So, you know, again, it's not personal. It's information. When you have somebody in the community that knows a little bit more than others, it can easily be misleading to people who are totally ignorant Asar Imhotep possibly knowing a little bit more than the completely ignorant person comes
Right.
across that he knows a lot, right?
Right.
Right. So that's why what you're saying right now, what you're showing right now is so pivotal and so important, because not only are you showing him mishandling and misrepresenting how to do this with the language, but you're also showing things that myself and others, this is our first time hearing it, that he's being rejected even online by trying to pass off articles in like, you know, pseudo names, but it's him.
Right.
And the reason why he's going under a pseudo name is because he knows it's quite possible that it's going to be rejected. Hence why
Right.
he doesn't put his name on it. That's
Right.
serious. That's serious.
Now peep this. Let's read. This seems to show comparative analysis of African languages and understanding of its differences, perhaps in reference to Indo-European languages. It should be noted that Obenga, Mboli, and Imhotep, who are proponents of the Negro Egyptian Siana Intu languages, are all of African descent, which further highlights how grossly mischaracterized and hastily read the article apparently was, while not cited in the article but related to the point and also from another of Imhotep's work. It is important to note that the Sumerian lexicon has many qualities in common with other African languages, and that includes its highly polysemous word base as a result of not being a very lexical-rich language. Foxfall gives us some insight into why one sign will have so many meanings in the Sumerian language. Now, the first out of the three given, it will usually have one or more logographic values, and it goes on to that. Now, Pete, this is Daniel Power of God, who's doing sock puppetry. And when you see this, here you see the linguist. Here, this is the linguist that after Daniel Power of God made that statement, trying to submit Asar's work for Wikipedia. This is what the linguist said, and the date is March 24, 2019. I have the date, and we have the time, 21:24. It says, it says, to improve the quality of the article, we would need to be very, very clear that this is pseudo science. Y'all see that?
Damn, yeah.
To improve the quality of the article, we would need to be very, very clear that this is pseudo science. Or in colloquial speech, bullshit. And that it has no more linguistic standing than speculating about the language of Atlantis. Or perhaps Steve is correct if this is a hoax and the authors frauds rather than idiots. Surely there is enough academic fraud out there that that's a real possibility. The real question, though, is whether it's notable. I always tell people, if it's not in a peer review system, this shit ain't notable. If you are, the reason why I respect Zion Let way more than Asar is because at least he let his elders in the Hebraic language know of his text to review it. Right. This dude doesn't do that. And when he does, he gets rejected. See? So it says, the real question, though, is whether it's notable. This is a peer review system, people. After all, we have articles on all sorts of pseudoscientific nonsense, such as astrology, and as far as I can tell, it's not. Thus, it does not warrant a Wikipedia article of any quality. Thus, we need to decide whether to delete it or redirect it. Now that I know about Obenga's article, that will be the appropriate destination. Except that Obenga himself would appear not to be notable, failing proof and not having any other reason to have an article. Let's get into it.
But let me ask you this question right now, because I know it's going to be his rebuttal. As you know, him and his cohorts, they're going to say what NEB and Zion Lex is doing right now is they're not dealing with the integrity of my argument. Instead, they're appealing to authority. You more familiar with dealing with Asar Imhotep than I could even dream to be. I want you to speak about that. Is what you're doing right now appealing to authority, or are you simply breaking down and assessing why his arguments are not valid based on the scholarship?
Man, I have over 25 errors that I have looked at his work and seen. We can discuss some now if you like. Easy. You know NETER, so it's easy for us. Right. We are brothers in NETER. See? So we know errors when we see it. See? Right. So if we see an error, we look at it and we see an error. There's so many errors that Asar Imhotep does. Let me give you an example. Just one example. I don't need to show you anything. I really don't. He says Sumerian is a Bantu language. Do you agree or do you not?
I disagree.
Why you disagree with that?
I disagree because anyone who studies the Sumerian language knows that, first and foremost, the problem that you're going to have with anything written in the Sumerian language is that what do you compare and contrast it to? It's an isolate. So when you go into its linguistic value and its lexical value, you have nothing to compare and contrast it against, because first and foremost, anything Asar is going to attempt to compare and contrast it against is not even contemporary with it. Secondly, most of Sumerian, if not all of Sumerian language, quote unquote, is an isolate. And from the vantage point of just historical linguistics, I would say that when you're looking at a language that is classified as a isolate, being that there's nothing to compare and contrast it to, you'd be hard pressed to be called anything except for a pseudo-linguist or a pseudo-scholar to compare and contrast it to anything, knowing it's a language isolate.
Facts. See that? Look how easy that was. That was easy, man. Thanks. Yeah. You are 100% accurate. It's an isolate. See, people are confusing with this appeal to authority bull crap that they try to pull. It's crap. And the reason why I say it's crap, it gives him an excuse to do that bullshit that he's doing.
Right.
This is why. I have no problem with Sumerian being Black African. Who wouldn't want Sumerian to be Black African?
Right.
Right? Who wouldn't? I mean, I would love that to be Black African. Come here. I'm the epitome of Black African. I am Black African. I'm Cameroonian. My people's up from Cameroon. I'm in contact with my Bamileke brothers in Cameroon. I train in our language of Cameroon. I'm proud to be African. See that? So I have no problem with Sumerian being African. But is it African is the scientific question. And what is the method are we doing to prove if it's African? No work has been done. We can look in any scientific peer-reviewed data journal. We can look in all of the journals ever came by since Sumerian was studied from its inception to it's not being studied in 2022. We still won't find no work in the world that presents a scientific standing changing that Sumerian is indeed an isolate or not. So my problem is not the fact that I'm appealing to authority. It's just the fact of the information that these pseudo-linguists go by, right? It's not scientific. It's not peer-reviewed. That Bantu Sumerian crap, he didn't submit that to no scientific journal. None. Why you think he didn't do it? Can anybody show me where this dude is submitting anything that other than YouTube? You can't. What can you say? So I'm not going to be pumping nobody's head up that is actually killing our community. That's called killing our community. He's killing it. He ain't helping it. This is overkill. He's killing our scholars. So now Wikipedia is even equating Obinga with this idiot, right? Now they think Obinga is with him. Obinga is not with this dude. Obinga is like editor-in-chief of a scientific journal. See that? He throw these guys' names around, and then now it's killing our scholars' legacy. Now the Wikipedia peer review now.
You
See,
often hear Asar Imhotep saying that he stands on the shoulders of a Sheikh Anti-Diop, of Theophile Obenga, Jacob Carruthers, even Dr. Riketi Aman, some of the recent. But you'll notice that it's just in speech that he's saying that, because in action he continuously or even notoriously deviates from their knowledge and from their methodology, and more importantly from their conclusions.
Yes.
But again, when you're unfamiliar with primary texts, and when you're unfamiliar with the elders, then what Asar Imhotep is saying can easily be construed as if it's in agreement with the elders. So you coming on right now as a person who comes from the direct tutelage of elders that have walked with the names that we're talking about, that means something to me right now, because it shows, number one, transparency, because again, we're not here to railroad him personally. I don't know him personally. You know what I'm saying?
A brother, Sin Zion. I'm not bashing. I like him. I actually like the guy, but he's not good for the community academic wise. That's all. He's a poison to the community. And I always say that because look what you have easily done. You broke down what Sumerian is. You said it's an isolate. So I ask you, have he changed the standing? Is a way you got to change that standing. When I'm telling black people, my Hebrew Israelite people, all my black people, it don't matter what you are. In the Kazizi system, we are all the same. We may have different ideologies. So what? This is my sin. Zion, my sin, because he's a sin in Medu Neter with me. Now, see, that's my brother.
And by sin, everybody, that's the Medu Neter term for brother. Sinnet would be our sister.
Yeah. So I'm here with my sin, my brother, and you easily said Sumerian is an isolate. Why? How you know it's an isolate? Because all of the peer-reviewed papers in the world have that standing. I'm not saying that we don't pose to challenge the peer review standing. Yes, we supposed to, but he is not. That's the problem. If you're going to change Sumerian to be a Bantu language or being related, so-called related to a hypothetical reconstruction, because it's not a such thing as Proto-Bantu, is not in reality. Proto-Bantu is a hypothetical reconstruction. It's not real. Linguistic reconstructions are in fact not even real, people. So how can Sumerian, a isolate, be a reconstruction? It doesn't. See, it doesn't add up. And then I asked my son, Zion, why is Sumerian not Bantu or related to it? He said simply, it's an isolate. Everyone knows it is. See that? It's not appealing to authority. It's just that he haven't done the work to change the standing. He had to submit that to the top Sumerian journals to challenge them himself to change the standing of whether Sumerian is in fact a isolate or is it in fact related to so-called a proto-hypothetical reconstruction. That's his mountain that he has to prove to change the standing for black people. If he ain't doing that, then he's just saying it and then go on YouTube making apodictic statements, then he's not doing anything. He is harming the community. He is not helping it. That's my issue. It's not appealing to authority. It's nigga, you got to do the work.
That's right, and that's the point of assessing the scholarship that he's bringing on the channel in this moment. Again, you made it clear it's not personal. I'm making it clear it's not personal. But if you're going to jump out and go on what's considered one of the biggest platforms on the TV and say that Yahweh is of Egyptian origin, and then attempt to say that the language Medu Neter can demonstrate that without going into primary text, that's linguistic heresy.
Yes. Thank you.
So again, I say to you, brother, because I'm about to bring this to a close, thank you very much for joining on. I got a class that I'm doing at 6, so I got to close the show now. But you are more than welcome to come on anytime you want. My email is zionlex@gmail.com. I'd love to have you on to come again, just to build about your knowledge of the language and then kind of relate that to some of the history in Kemet so that we can have an overall discussion on many different areas. So again, shout out to you guys. If you can, I see the brother's mention on the screen. Donate. Send something to that brother. He came. He did not know that he was coming on. I didn't even know he was coming on. He made comments in the section. I saluted him. He joined. We don't know what he was doing during his day, but he took the time out of his day, and he's a grown man. I'm 42. I'm sure he's in his 40s too or up there. We got a lot that we could be doing right now other than being on YouTube. So the fact that the brother did that, guys, show your love by donating to him. Also, guys, remember I put his YouTube on the platform. Make sure you guys go and check him out. Salute to you, NEB. Thank you very much. Can't wait to have you back again.
Dua, Sin. Thank you.
All right. All right, y'all. So I wasn't going to do a part 2, but I have to, because I thank NEB for presenting what he presented, right? I thank him. Shout out to Mika. Mika's a moderator on everybody's platform. Shout out to Mika. As Asar Imhotep was attempting to drag me on his channel, Mika said, nah, I like Zion Lex as a personal brother. I seen that you didn't stand up for my scholarship, though, even though she came back and she said Zion can defend himself. And she even said to Asar, give Zion the link. Asar Imhotep completely ignored giving me the link to join his live yesterday while he was live so that I could contend and trade my difference of opinion. And that's very telling. Y'all know when people come on my live and say, give me the link, y'all know that they're welcome to get the link and come in and share some of this work or some of this smoke. And when there's smoke over here, goddammit, it's always going to be fire. All right. But shout out to NEB. Again, I didn't even get to present to you guys what I have to present. And notwithstanding kudos to everything that NEB just presented, I still have a very powerful demonstration to present. Also, guys, NEB is someone that does Medu Neter on a very serious level. He has learned from the very best in the Kemetic community. Shout out to Dr. Raketi Aman, who NEB is a direct student under her. If I can for a moment, let me attempt to just pull her up for a moment, guys, so you guys can see her. All right. Okay, I'm going to pull her up right now. You guys should be able to see the screen with her picture on it in a couple of moments. Give me a couple seconds, y'all. We mentioned her name a couple of times tonight. I want to salute to this queen. Her name is Dr. Raketi Amen. Okay, her name is Dr. Raketi Amen. All right. She's a serious Medu Neter scholar. She has learned from the very best. She is a student of Dr. Theophile Obenga. She is a direct student of Sheikh Anti Diop. She studied with the best of the best, and she's considered today one of the best of the best. And NEB, who you guys just heard from, is one of her direct students. And everybody heard, I'm just showing you guys her picture. Everybody heard NEB get on here and say, Zion Lex definitely can read Medu Neter. So, shout out to him, because a lot of them like to act like, oh, Zion don't do Medu Neter. But when they go into saying, deconstructing my arguments is always weak. It's always, corny. Even Asar Imhotep, and I wanted to show you guys this. Asar Imhotep didn't challenge my knowledge of Medu Neter because he couldn't. What he attempted to do was piggyback on, I've been doing this longer, much longer than Zion thinks. Zion is new to me. I'm not new to this. Whatever. Y'all going to see me roast him on open flames intellectually at about 8 p.m. tonight. So I wasn't going to do a live 8 p.m. tonight on YouTube, but I'm going to bring my entire class on YouTube tonight. And I'm going to go live at 8 p.m. I'm going to go live on 8 p.m. and I'm going to do part 2 to this. I didn't even want to do a part 2 to this because I don't need a part 2 to deal with Asar Imhotep. But because NEB came in and he consumed some of the time, bringing out some very, very, need to know things, I decided to pull back and allow, one of the people in the community to come out and say something. But I will definitely be bringing my presentation later to rebut what Asar Imhotep said. And I got to tell y'all something. Y'all already know when I get in that flow, I'm in rare form. Once again, I did not get an opportunity to present what I wanted to present, but I will tell y'all this. When I come back later on tonight and I bring part 2 to this presentation, I don't know where Asar Imhotep is going to go. I don't know who's going to want him on the platform, but I can tell you right now, I'm bringing out fire. Intellectually speaking, I'm going to roast him on open flames tonight. Shout out to everybody that supported this live. Family, thumb up the video and share it on your way out. Make sure you guys donate. Come on, guys. All this information back to back. Support the platform. We go on Kevin Samuels and we drop in, support. We go on Hassan Campbell and we drop in support. So what about Zion Lex? Everybody should be supporting the platform. With that being said, I'll see you guys at 8 p.m. If you're not registered for my Hebrew classes, you need to sign up ASAP, zionlex@gmail.com. If you'd like a crash course on beginners middle NETER hieroglyphs, obviously, I do that too. Shout out to NEB. Shout out to brother Reggie, Saber Reggie, who also knows I do middle NETER. Also, shout out to Mfudiji, who also knows I do middle NETER. With that being said, guys, I'll see y'all at 8 p.m. zionlex@gmail.com if you want to inquire on my Hebrew classes, my beginners middle NETER classes, and my history, Torah, and Aramaic classes. With that being said, guys, I'm going to see y'all at 8 p.m. Hebrew class. I'm going to see y'all at 6 p.m. Peace.
Still haven't tried the Locklicious All Natural Hair Care product line? Well, let's hear what the Lock community has to say about it.
I love how it sprays and how it feels, you guys. Like, it feels so good. And it smells amazing, you guys.
The Lock and Twist moisturizer was really good for me. The hydration mist was phenomenal.
This is bomb, baby. I was really impressed, kind of blown away, and I think that if you're struggling, definitely go check them out.
And check out the 5-star reviews on our website. So, what are you waiting for? Go to locklicious.com to start treating your crown like royalty.
I wash my natural hair and my face with the same product because natural hair care is easy. Natural skin care is easy. Don't make it hard.
If you want to have a better view on how the Bible looks at women in its proper context, then you should get these 2 books. Matriarchs of the Covenant, written by Abdil Ben Levi, popularly known as Zion Lex. This is a masterpiece.